Well, joining us now, the senior Congress leader, Deepender Hooda. Thank you very much, Mr. Hooda, for being with me. Now, you saw Kailash Vijayvargiya and what he actually had to say there, that he welcomes these soldiers as security guards in the BJP office. Is that a perspective which is acceptable to you?
Of course not. I think, my advice to the BJP leaders is they have done a lot of politics on armed forces, on patriotism. That's the kind of brand of politics unfortunately they've done over so many years, but they don't really understand what the passion for patriotism is amongst those youngsters who get up from their bed at 4 a.m. in the morning in the small villages and towns of this country. They go to their playgrounds, their fields in their villages, they run hard, they train hard with a passion to serve the nation through its army, to become a Fauji. They want to become a Fauji and they want to serve this country. They don't want to become security guard. What are you talking about? How, from when the pride associated with being a Indian Fauji has been, equal to the pride associated with being a security guard of a BJP office. I mean, that he should apologize to the nation. It's quite unfortunate that they don't understand the passion which is.
No, I tend to agree with you, and and we are
actually insulted that passion. Yeah. They have.
My only submission is that
of patriotism,
in this conversation, neither you and I are looking down at security guards, not at all. But I would suggest that, it's not a correct understanding of what Faujis are when they end their training. As an example, a person who's handled the gun of a tank, or a soldier who's trained to fight in Siachen, or is skilled in maintaining the engine of a Rafale, would not aspire to be a security guard. So I would suggest this shows a lack of understanding of what the armed forces are. Isn't that a problem?
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, absolutely. They're on many levels. You are absolutely right. See, if you look at Indian Army today, first year is a hardcore training. The next 2 years go in tactical training and platoon operations at level training in their respective regiments that they are absorbed in. And by the third year, end of the third year, they are, they're supposed to be comprehensive in to carry out the nature of operation they have assigned to. Now, in this case, with 4 years of this Agnipath and Agniveers, at the end of the third year, they'll be loaded with insecurity of what will they do after the fourth year.
Right.
So 3 years they are sort of training. Fourth year they are thinking what should be, because if you look at all the other youngsters who do engineering or graduation, in the last year they are interning, they are looking at the companies to go what they'll do, etc. So so now a nation which wants to leave its own forces insecure about their own future, what kind of manobal will they be providing security to our nation? And every country is different. Another point I want to make, Vishnu, because BJP has been, their spin machinery has been talking about Israel. See, Israel is a completely different country. Many levels. Israel is an advanced economy. The 100% employment is there. There is no unemployment. Nobody wants to join army as a first preference. In India, situation is different. Crores of our youngsters, they dream of joining army as their first preference, the first dream that they have, and especially the youngsters who are coming from the villages, the small towns. It's completely opposed to what there in Israel. Israel has a very homogeneous kind of borders. India, sure. The kind of training which is required, like you said, to operate in Siachen, to operate in the Thar Desert, to operate. It takes time to become a comprehensive soldier, comprehensive Fauji. You cannot equate, this government has this, I would call a disease of being a, I don't want to use that word, but the word that comes to my mind in a colloquial Hindi is nakalchi bandar. I mean, farm laws, they imported from America. Then they realized India is a different country. 50% of the population is dependent on farming. You can't have the corporatization. Now, this kind of, 4-year stint in army, they're importing from Israel. India is a different country. India is a country which is surrounded by enemies on
Mr. Hooda, there's a second statement as well.
And our army is supposed to be
You know, a statement from
Yes.
Kishan Reddy, the union minister, and this is what he's reported to have said. Those
right.
who will be
I mean,
recruited
that's-
under the Agnipath scheme will be trained with different skills. There are skills in various profiles such as electricians, drivers, washermen, hairdressers, etc. Now, it is true that there are thousands of drivers in the army and electricians and those who wash clothes and those who may be hairdressers, but that's not the primary profession. The primary training is to pick up a gun and go fight and be deployed.
And even that's not all, Vishnu. If you look at the various, so Armored Corps,
Yeah.
you know, it's such a specialized, it takes 4 or 5 years to become a comprehensive Armored Corps soldier. If you look at artillery, specialized. If you look at paratroopers, specialized. I mean, you know, this notion that this Mr. Reddy, I mean, he has to take his words back. I mean, that's not what our soldiers are trained to do. I mean, the pride associated, first, they are not understanding the pride associated with wearing the green. They are not understanding that. They are not understanding the ambition of our youth, not just to, see, Vishnu, you are a journalist. If suppose you have been in journalism for so many years, if I were to tell you or tell a new journalist that you be in journalism 4 years, after end of 4 years, I'll give you 11 lakhs. But you go home and you
work that way.
That's not what it is. I mean, there is, it doesn't work that way. And, you know, Indian Army is considered world's best, finest army.
Yes.
And
yes.
the traditions and principles and which form the foundations of army, the regimental system, the combination of the youth and experience, they have been perfected over a period of time, and which is suited to our terrain, which is suited to our neighborhood, and which is suited to our Indian society. Now you cannot just uproot all those founding principles based on which this India has the finest army in the world, and then hope to create something new. I mean, they have to justify, first of all, what they feel is lacking in Indian army. First, they have to tell the nation. And I've been saying, I mean, this is one subject, national security and Indian armed forces. This is not a subject which should be subjected to politics. You can do politics or any other thing, but not this. On this, every policy should be above politics, and they should take the nation into confidence.
Okay.
Any reform in Indian defense forces, recruitment, they should have called a special parliament session and should have discussed in the parliament or at least in a standing committee.
Okay.
And you know, somebody should have deliberated.
All right. So the more transparency is what you feel.
Israel is a great example.
Deepender Hooda, more transparency is what you wanted.